Hello, it's Carl, and this video is all about the Funicolare. You can see my ticket here. The Funicolare is a cable railway, tiny little cable railway that runs up an incredibly steep hillside to a place called Montecatini Alto, which is a tiny little medieval town that sits above Montecatini Terme, which I've done another video on, and you can go and check that out too. So here we are at the Funicolare. As you can see, it was built in 1898. Gosh, like Judith Chalmers is in the room. This is the ticket office, and the reason I'm taking you there is to show you this, which is the timetable and the prices. I filmed this in September 2024, and it was €7.50, as you can see, and that is one of two trains. There are only two trains on this railway, and it's literally, they are counterbalanced, and so one goes up, one comes down, one goes up, one comes down, etc, etc. Pretty much all day long, as you can see. But anyway, here we go, tiny little railway track, and as you can see, it's a single railway track. And then what happens, and I will show you it, but what happens is when the two trains come towards each other, then they, like this, it goes to a double track, and they cross each other. And you'll see happy tourists waving at me. And sorry, I said tourists condescendingly, because I am still a tourist when I go over there, because I'm not Italian, and that makes me a tourist. I'm digressing. Anyway, so you can see they're tiny little trains. Looks like something out of Thomas the Tank Engine. The train, not those people. Anyway, so here we go, and there are houses either side of the line as well, which I've always found quite odd, because it's not at all private. I suppose it's no different to living on a road. So we're approaching the top now, and as I say, the whole thing operates on cables, and when we get up near the top, or when we get up to the top, you will see the cables themselves. Just this massive pulley system. There's a bit of a feat of engineering, to be honest with you. Residents can drive right up to the top, and the residents of Montecatini Alto, I think, probably burn out quite a few clutches over the years. Here's the other train going down, and we are now approaching the top. So that was the entrance there, and this is the little town of Montecatini Alto. It's very, very pretty, and there's very little here, but it's worth having a look up here on a kind of a day out to Montecatini Terme, as well as visiting Terme Tetuccio, which is a separate video on as well. But anyway, back to this, and you can see the cables here and this kind of enormous pulley. And as we get up here, you'll see this spool going round, and you'll see a bloke up here, and you can see the size of this spool compared to the little fella. Anyway, here we are, Montecatini Alto. And as I pan round here and you look back over Montecatini Terme, you'll just see what an incredible view you can get from here, and kind of how high up it is, and how steep that hill is. If you think about it, that gradient that we're looking at there, we've just come up by train, so it's very, very steep. Just to get your bearings, right over in the hills there is Casa Trebbio, and looking over towards Lucca as well, and then as we come round here, those far hills that you see, Pisa's just over the other side there. So here we are in the town itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful little town of just very old buildings, and other than a couple of shops, it's pretty much just restaurants and bars. There are a few shops. There's souvenir shops up here. My daughter and I always buy each other tacky souvenirs, and when we came here once, we just split up into neighbouring shops and bought each other rubbish tourist presents. But anyway, so here we are in the town itself, and you can see it's very typical Tuscan, the lovely old doors, and the faded paintwork, and a mix of the brickwork and the flint, and then you've also got the typical Tuscan green shutters as well here. So as we walk up and go left, as the arrow tells us, then we get up to the town square itself, and I just wanted to start with this building coming into view here. It's actually an old theatre, I have no idea why there is such an elaborate theatre here, so grand. For a tiny little place, they could all have just walked around in the town square and entertained each other, because the population can't be more than a couple of hundred, I wouldn't think. But anyway, that's the theatre. And then as we pan around the square, it's literally just kind of restaurants here. These are apartments up here, but then the canopies that you can see coming into view are restaurants. So there we go. And this is the town square. And as you can see, it's literally restaurant, 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 restaurant. But clearly it's quite a touristy area, and they do feed an awful lot of people during the course of the year. But what I'm going to do is just walk right up to the very top of it now. And you can see across there, the view across from these houses is just absolutely staggering. I'm going to go up to the church up at the top. And this church is called San Pietro, and this is just part of it. This is a tower, but it dates back to the 11th century and was originally a Benedictine monastery. But it is just literally the church in Montecatini Alto nowadays. As you can see, you've got this tower here, and then the rest of the church is just on the left-hand side here. And the other thing up here is clear signs that they've defended themselves from time to time in the past, although that cannon doesn't look very medieval to me. Pretty sure it's not medieval. But this is the tower up at the top again, and looking at it from a different angle now, and there's these sort of open gardens, which this is clearly an old fort. Dating back to the 11th century, as I say, and I'm guessing this was sort of fortified walls around just a tiny little bit up the top. I'm kind of baffled as to who they were defending themselves up against, because it's just right up the top of a hill. But anyway, what do I know? I'm not a historian, nor am I Judith Chalmers. So here we are, back on the train, heading down. Hope you enjoyed that little look around Montecatini Alto, and I do strongly suggest that you combine it with a trip when you're over at Casa Trebbio to Montecatini Terme as well. So please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to the newsletters by going onto the homepage of the website, scroll down to the bottom, enter your details so I can let you know about any cancellations, last minute availability, competitions, that sort of thing. So thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.